Hey everybody, Zach and Nina here, and we are going to show how to prepare the raw vegan Alfredo pasta using zucchini or squash noodles. I've had a lot of requests to show how to make this because I've been posting photos of each different variation of the recipe as I've worked with this, and me and Nina just ate it like a couple of weeks ago, and I made the final tweaks to the recipe and came out just where we want it.
It's perfect now. It's out of all the raw vegan meals that we make, it's the top favorite for sure. It's delicious.
Yeah, almost everybody who's had it has definitely loved it. And
almost, except for David. Calling you out. Sorry.
Yeah, in this version of it, we are starting out preparing macadamia nuts. We have got fresh whole macadamias here that were shipped from Hawaii.
Oh, they're like a great like angle. Sorry.
They're the most nutritious when they're kept in the shell. So we got them shipped with the shell on, and then freshly crack them right before we prepare it. So we've got this nutcracker. We're gonna crack all of these, and the recipe calls for 1.5 cups of macadamia. You can also use cashews, or for the ultimate Alfredo experience, you can actually pre-ferment the cashew or the macadamia using the cashew cream cheese recipe that I have a video posted for.
Ooh, we should do that.
Which will give it the extra level of cheesy creaminess.
The ultimate. What did you say? Ultimate? Never mind.
Ultimate experience or something. I don't know.
Sorry.
Anyways, we'll be back in a couple of minutes and show the next phase of the operation. All right. Hey again, we've got all of our ingredients prepared for the sauce. We cracked all the macadamias. That took quite a while. And now I'm going to show how to prepare the sauce while Nina prepares the zucchini for the pasta noodles. Want to show that?
Yes. So we started off by just doing a bed of arugula, and you can do spinach or kale or any greens that you really want, but we like the arugula. It has that natural pepper flavor that's going to be really good.
Definitely going to complement it a lot.
And then I'm just going to use the spiral slicer, which these are really cheap, awesome tools.
It is
for the zucchini. And you can do yellow squash, or even we did carrots before. Not as easy with carrots, but...
Carrot, you get a lot different texture, so squash is most ideal for this. But
definitely.
Yeah, it's a fun tool to have, though.
But yeah, it's really, really easy. And makes these nice, long, noodly things.
Yeah, it's definitely ideal for a raw pasta. So, while she's doing that, I'm going to show you the ingredients to the sauce. So, first we're going to put it all in the blender together. We've got 1.5 cups of macadamia. And like I said before, you can use cashews, or you can pre-ferment either macadamias or cashews into a cheese, and that would be the most awesome. But you would use the same concentration. You would use 1.5 cups of your cheese if you chose to do that. Then we're going to do 1/4 cup of organic. These are hulled sesame. When you hull them, it's a little bit more creamy texture. Generally, I use unhulled because it's a higher mineral content, but for this creamy sauce, we're going to use the hulled sesame. And then we're going to do, I've got all of our dry spice. Well, now that the spices last. All right. The other bulk ingredients here. We've got 1 celery stalk. We've got 1/6 of a cup of kale. Give it a nice hearty green flavor. 2 to 3 cherry tomatoes. I'm using 3 this time because they're a little on the small side. 1 pitted date. The sweetness really brings out a lot of the flavors. We've got, this is the juice of 1 lemon. You can use lime as well if you want to. And then 1 tablespoon of oil. You can use hemp oil, olive oil, sesame oil, whatever you would like. And then this very special ingredient that is left is hing, also called Asafetida. It is the sap resin of a tree, and it has a natural garlic and onion-like flavor. If you don't have hing, you can use garlic, and you can use 3/4 of a teaspoon of garlic in place. With the hing, I'm going to use about 1 to 2 pea-sized portions. The cool thing about hing is that it does not come from a root vegetable, so it qualifies as an ahimsa food. This whole meal, I believe, is all ahimsa. What that means is ahimsa translates to... Did you cut yourself on the slicer?
Somehow I managed to... It's okay.
All right. Ahimsa translates to non-violence towards all living beings. So a lot of people critique veganism and say, oh, well, you're still harming plants, and that's kind of a fallacy on a couple different levels. First of all, because it requires a lot of plants to grow meat to the point of maturity, so you actually utilize less plants total to just eat vegetables versus feeding animals the vegetables and then chopping up the animals. But that point aside, there is a lot of value, in my opinion, in proceeding towards ahimsa in terms of your food consumption. So we need root vegetables sometimes. They strengthen the internal organs and provide a lot of minerals, but I try to eat as much ahimsa as possible. And what this involves is by not using root vegetables or bulbs such as garlic and onion, which is pretty interesting because you can actually, like with garlic and onions, for instance, you can go ahead and plant your garlic bulb or plant your onion, and then the greens that come off of it can be harvested. So you can still get the flavor of onion and garlic as much as you want without actually killing the life form itself. So it's a pretty interesting philosophical principle that really resonates with me. But anyhow, that's why we're using hing in this, because hing comes from the tree sap. So it's not actually killing any organism to use it, and yet we're still going to get an awesome garlicky flavor. All right, then we've got our spices, all of our dry ingredients here. What we've got, let me get up close and show you. We've got a 1/2 teaspoon of Cayenne Namek salt, which has a natural sulfur. It's sulfur rich, so it has an almost egg-like flavor. Really adds a good element to a lot of vegan dishes. We've got 1 teaspoon of basil, 1/16 of a teaspoon of Shilajit. Let me just put that on there. This is the black Shilajit from the Eternity in a Box website. This provides a really earthy quality to the sauce, and it's too much of it would overpower, but just a small amount of Shilajit, it's almost provides a heartiness. In the same way as salt brings flavors to the surface, the Shilajit kind of seems to do a similar function. We've got 2 shakes worth of black pepper, 1/4 of a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. You can do more or less to your taste. And then the main base in here is 1 tablespoon of maca, and we're using the Eternity in a Box yellow maca root for this recipe. And that's it. So add all those in. And then the final ingredient is 1 full cup of spring water.
Spring water.
Good water. All right, and she's coming along with this here. It's looking real tasty. Good ribbon-like strands, a lot of fun.
A lot of fun.
I'm gonna go blend this up while she...
Whoa, that's long.
While she finishes the noodles, and we will be back and show you the next phase.
Now, the next step is to chop up the veggies that we're going to add to it, and today we're using cherry tomatoes and sugar snap peas. That's one that we've been using lately, but really you can just use whatever fresh vegetables you have in the fridge or what sounds good to you, because you can't really go wrong, I don't think.
Yep. Broccoli would be pretty good. You could chop up some onions if you want to go that way. A lot of options. We set aside a few here. Set aside 7 of the peas and 4 tomatoes cut in half, and those are going to be used for garnishing. And I also blended up the sauce. And see, it's got a slight green color, but mostly white Alfredo-like color. And it is going to be real tasty. The way that she's cutting these is we're taking the ends of the peas off because they're kind of sharp.
They'll poke your jugular if you don't be careful.
Yeah, we're avoiding jugular poking, taking the necessary safety precautions, and then cutting them in half. So we're going to take everything that she is cutting, throw it right here on top of our noodles, and then we're going to toss everything together and go from there. All right, guys, we've got the vegetables chopped up, and we're about ready to do the final preparation before we eat it. You can see all these vegetables, healthy, glowing goodness. And now we're going to add the sauce. Should have brought that spatula in there.
Yeah, the rubber would be better.
You want to go grab it? Much better. Excuse the possibly audible noisy neighbors.
Sounds like they're having an argument.
Seems like they always argue.
Isn't this so exciting? I think it is. That smells so good.
Yeah, the sauce definitely came out really good.
It seems like there's a lot of ingredients in this meal, but really, like, it isn't, and it's super easy to make. Like, once you do it once, it seems like a really easy meal. Especially if you have someone to help, because it makes it easier with two people. But regardless, it's easy and delicious. I'm excited that it has arugula.
Me too. Me too.
That noise kind of weirds me out.
The sloshy noise?
Yeah.
I like it.
You like it?
Uh-huh.
I've always been indifferent about it my whole life, like with stirring up pasta and stuff like that. I wonder if it picks up on the video.
Probably not. Maybe.
Leave a comment down below. Do you like the sloshy pasta noise? Just kidding. Or not. I really do want to know.
Would you go grab that rag in there so I can wipe the edge of this and show them how to like make it go from sloppy to like perfectly beautiful?
What, just like a dry one?
No, the wet one's fine. We're just gonna wipe the very edge of it. Alright, so I've got it tossed, looking very pretty and cool, but the edge is a little bit messy, and if you want to go for restaurant style preparation aesthetics here, go ahead and wipe the outer edge free of sauce.
So when you bring this to the family picnic,
Yes.
this is a step you must not forget.
Then we press it back up against the edges so it's a nice clean line. I'll show you guys what that just did.
Beautiful.
Very beautiful. Let me get up even closer so you can see all the veggies in there. Oh, got a light conflict. I'll have to do this at a different angle next time. Looks good though. And then we're gonna do our final garnishing. So what we're gonna do, we got our full snap peas. We're gonna set them around the edges here.
Can't forget the sacred G garnishments.
Yep, sacred geometry garnishment. That is our specialty.
What's your specialty?
This part's kind of fun because it adds a nice artistic element and allows it to be less strict, and you can have fun and do whatever you want. Then we've got this guy, which this is what you get at the end of doing your spiral slicing. It's a piece of zucchini, and then the top has little holes in it. It looks almost like a lotus seed pod, and I think they're really cool, so I always use them for garnishing. We'll put that in at the very top, though, after this. And our next layer of garnishing is we're going to use some more cayenne pepper. The red contrasting with the white is really, really pretty looking. So, little sprinkle around and kind of concentrate it more in the middle. I'll get the camera and show you guys the overhead right when we're done. Then
You want me to hold it for you?
yeah, that'd be cool. Okay. Oop, one of our dudes fell. That's fine though. Then basil, organic basil, little sprinkle of that around the middle there.
There was a weird lighting here.
That adds a nice texture element. Like I said, we'll get an overhead right before we're done. So, and then the tomatoes, hold it more upright. Oh, we'll put our cool looking little guy in the middle, and then the tomato, half cut grape tomatoes, and we're gonna put those guys around here in a circle. And we've got 8 of them. When you put the clean veggies on top of all the other garnishing, it gives it a beautiful glow. Here, let's get.
Wait, no numerology synchronicities?
1, 8, 7. Whatever that means.
I don't buy it.
All numbers have power. All right, let me grab this and show you guys. How am I going to do this? Okay.
No. Yes.
Glowing, nice texture, nice color, a lot of the contrast. The veggies on top gives it that beautiful texture, and then the artistic arrangement really makes it glow. And part of the value of all of that garnishing is that it's kind of like chef kind of technique in restaurants, is that, you know, you eat with your eyes before you eat with your mouth. So when you look at something and it's really pretty, right off the bat you're excited, and it really prepares your body for like enthusiasm going into it. It's kind of a psychology trick in a sense. So we're going to go ahead, now that we did this, and put it in bowls, and we'll show you guys the reaction of consuming it briefly. So after all that prettiness, now we're just going to destroy it, and that's a way of honoring the impermanence of everything. You want to hold the bowl up?
Hold it up?
No, one of the serving.
Oh, I was like, what do you mean?
Whoa. That's a lot. That's way more than I wanted in there.
Ah! It's everywhere!
Oh no.
Come on, Zach.
Oh, this is gonna ruin the whole video. Oops. Alright, get the other one.
Oh, beautiful.
Nice and clean. Do them all like that at your dinner party. Okay. Now, before we eat, we are gonna acknowledge our thanks and gratitude, and this is spiritually significant to us, but also is good psychologically to just remember your gratitude for how awesome life is and having good food at your disposal. So it's, I think, a very healthy thing for anyone to implement, regardless of any spirituality or religion or atheism or anything like that. Life is awesome. So let's go ahead and take a bite, and then we'll end the video. It's pretty cool. You gotta kind of twist your fork a little bit, just like normal pasta. Unless you want to cut it up, but I'm a long noodle kind of guy. If I make cooked pasta, I want long noodles. What do you think?
Great.
Mmm.
Yeah, that's good.
Macadamia is really nice in it.
Mm-hmm. Really good. Do you like it better than cashew, you think?
A little different. Cashews don't digest as good, so I usually try to avoid those, but cashews are so tasty, so it's hard to say between this and cashew. What do you think?
I like macadamia.
I do too. I think if we fermented and made a macadamia cheese and then use that, that would be the total bullseye.
Whoa.
Now, you can also feel free to add, obviously add whatever else you want to the recipe overall, but a lot of times, you know, if you want more salt than what the recipe calls for, go ahead and add a little sprinkle on top. Pepper, cayenne, you know, we use ghost pepper and stuff sometimes if you want it to really
make it
ghostly hot. You don't want to be haunted with the capsaicin burn. So, thanks for joining us, guys. I hope that you enjoy this recipe and enjoy the health and excitement and enthusiasm of treating your body well.
So good.